Hello, my name is Paul Slot. I'm from Octogen, and we're here to talk to you about sensible money management. The first object is to understand your financial lifestyle spending patterns. And what we try to do is we devise your budget into 3 categories. And we call it the 35, 25, 35 model. The first 35% of your income, or your after-tax income, should be spent on household items. The second 25% should be spent on financial services, such as insurance, assurance, pension, and so on. And the last 35% ideally should be spent on debt repayments, not more than 35%. If you add it up, it adds up to 95%. 5% is the additional savings that you should be putting away on a monthly basis. Let's explain that a little bit more in more detail. The average family spends about 14% on groceries. Now, if you spend more than 14% on groceries, for instance, you spend 18% on groceries, it probably means that you're spending a little bit more upmarket, and then you're above the national norm. So if you want to understand your financial lifestyle, understand how much you spend on groceries and tone it down. Another example is that the average family spends about 6% on entertainment. 6% of your income, or if you're repaying a house, on average about 23%. If you're repaying a car, that's normally between 14 and 17%. Now you can see, adding a house and a car together, if you add those two together, 23, 17, you're already over 35%. So then you should be asking yourself, the question is, if I spend 35% already, why incur more debt? Because then sensibly you can't repay it and living a balanced budget. Most people do not have a budget. In fact, less than 10% of people actually keep a formal budget. The rest, the 90%, in most cases, spend the money until the account is dry. Now, what do you need to change? You need to understand your spending patterns, and you need to understand how you're actually managing your budget. How people get into trouble if they do not understand that. They are driven by spending, and they're not driving the spending. So you need to actually understand how you spend your money and drive the spending budget. Let me give you an example. Average spending we've said already on groceries should be between 14 and 16, 17%. If you're spending more than that on a monthly basis, it means that you need to go and find money elsewhere to pay for your groceries. It's like in the old days, our grandparents had an envelope system. You actually earn your money, put money in the envelope, and you actually then spend it. This is for meat, this is for bread, and so on. If the bread money is finished, you need to take it out of the envelope and put it into a different envelope. This is exactly the same. You need to understand what you're going to spend, how you're going to spend it, and plan for it. A lot of the people are driven by aspirations. I see an ad, I have to have that pair of shoes. And they actually don't plan for it. The lower your income is, the more fixed you are in terms of what you have to spend. For instance, if you earn less than 3,000 Rand, you know exactly what you have to spend on groceries in order to survive, because you know your funeral policy is this, your debt repayments is that, and you have to pay the school fees, so you need to plan for it. The problem arises when something increases. For instance, our electricity prices now increase substantially. And on average, that's going to mean that you have to find 2% of your income elsewhere to pay for the increase in electricity. If you don't plan for that, then how are you going to find it? So the trick is understand your spending patterns, know where the increases are going to be, and actually plan accordingly. Another example is fuel. Fuel price increases on a monthly basis regularly, and you either have to travel less or you have to find the money elsewhere to actually pay for the fuel or transport cost. The question is, how do you actually then improve your spending patterns? The first thing always is understand how much you're earning on a regular basis. Second issue is understand how you're spending it. If you don't understand how you're spending it, stop and take stock of that. In other words, if you're used to actually using a credit card, stop using a credit card for a month, pay cash. You need to know exactly what you're paying for things, then you can start planning. The question is always to say, if I earn less, can I actually survive with less income? if you actually pass that test, you can actually manage your budget. The trick is not to force somebody that doesn't have a budget to do a budget. The trick and the tip here is if you understand your income and your spending patterns. If you do, you'll survive.